motion from,
You know how to make controversy, don't you?
yes, I do.
Good job.
Well, let's go ahead and call the
Bless you.
meeting to order for Monday, July 15th. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Coffey. Here. Councilmember Olson. Councilmember Starkey.
Here.
Councilmember Rowe. Here. Councilmember McDermott.
That's it.
Last weekend, we witnessed or saw news reports of an attempted assassination of the former president. Fortunately, it was not fatal for the former president, but it was absolutely tragic for some innocent bystanders. Until the investigation is complete, we don't know, nor we may never know the motive, but everybody has assumed it was for political purposes or political thought. Washington could learn a lot from Main Street politics. When we disagree, we are still respectful to one another, and we respect the governing process. It's okay to disagree on political philosophy and strategy. It's okay and good to have vigorous debate, but it's never good to personally or violently attack another. Let's hope Washington can learn from this tragedy and bring stability back to national politics. I appreciate your patience with me while I express my views. Now, on a happier note, we'd like to thank all our department heads for a magnificent 4th of July celebration we had in the city. We have not had a chance to do a post-game review of the parade. We have of the park activity. It was very well received. I think we had 18,000 people in our park for the 4th of July celebration. 12,000 watched the fireworks. 3,500 enjoyed the parade. And we have not done, like I said, we have not done the post game on the parade, but we will do that with all the department heads to see if we can make improvements. But overall, I think everybody was pretty well pleased. For the balloons aloft this last weekend was very well attended. Weather worked out fairly well. We had one night that the winds weren't strong enough for them, which is the first time I've ever seen that before. But very well attended and very well received. And we have a C-54 that participated in the Berlin airlift out at our local airport. It was a relief effort done by the military at the close of World War II. And that airplane sitting out on the ramp did participate in that. So if you get a chance to go out and take a look at that very historic airplane. Yeah, they did. They came from Goshen. They had an air show over in Goshen. They flew over and flew around a couple times and then landed at the airport. Request approval of the July 1 minutes, please. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next, unfinished business. We need a public hearing regarding the proposed solid waste charge, where we are taking the monthly fee for solid waste of $17.75. We will now open the public hearing. Please step to the podium and state your name and address. No, nobody to make a, would you like to make a public?
No, thank you. No statements.
We will close the public hearing and we will move to the third reading of ordinance number 1758, 2024, an ordinance amending the Angola Municipal Code, Chapter 8.05, solid waste, taking the charge of $17.75 per. Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ordinance number 1759, 2024, an ordinance fixing the compensation of appointed officers, deputies, and other employees of the police and of the police and firefighters of the city of Angola, Indiana for the year 2025, second reading.
Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I know there's been some suggestions to you. Do you give it some earnest consideration as to some of the discrepancies that have been presented at times?
We have, Ryan and I have sat down and talked at it, looked at it. We looked at actual earnings, which includes all, particularly police and fire is what we're discussing, I assume, is that?
Yes, my main point of emphasis.
Yes. We looked at actual earnings in 2023, taking into account overtime, longevity, and police. They do have some special grant projects that they work that also flows through our books. It shows up as income because the grant is paid to the city pays the employees. And we also looked at year-to-date earnings in 2024, and keeping in mind that we added longevity pay to the fire department in 2024, effective 2024, which moved those numbers up significantly for the firefighters. I don't have the data in front of me this evening, but I think year-to-date so far, 3 of our firefighters earned more than our chief did or have so far at the beginning of the year. If you look at the true numbers of what their income is. And I think there were 2 members of the police department that had earned more than what the chief had earned. And if, as far as parity pay for police and fire, and I understand most of it centers on the retirement annuity and the pension. I understand and I respect that. I really do. But to correct that, it's about a 10.9%, 10.8%, somewhere in there, adjustment for the firefighters to get there. And if you look at the entire package, you'll end up with firefighters that are earning more than the police officers are if you make that adjustment because of the pay mechanism they use. It's a very hard comparison to make because they work extremely different schedules.
Different schedules and also, they're willing to come in on their days off if need be and so forth.
And that accounts for the overtime piece of it. And I understand that. Ryan and I have looked at this upside down and inside and out.
Okay.
And those are the conclusions that we came to.
I was just really looking for a yes or no.
Yes, I've looked at it, and no, I don't want to make adjustments. Is that what you want to know?
That was a very nice succinct answer.
Jennifer, you had some emails earlier today. Did you have some discussion?
Just two questions. One is that, I understand what you're saying there. And so is there a spread that we're trying to achieve as far as for the compression to help spread it out? Is that how the 9%, 8%? And then I think water and wastewater also had 5%. So I didn't know if there's like a spread we're trying to get to for the departments.
In terms of high to low,
Yes.
an exact number, no.
Okay.
What I was trying to do was find a good balance. The issue when you make adjustments here, it ends up affecting something somewhere else.
Mhm.
So the spreadsheet we put together, we kept plugging different numbers in, primarily me. Ryan helped provide a lot of the facts to me. Was trying to get a reasonable balance to be fair to everybody and accomplish the goals of taking our managers to a higher level. We shouldn't have any of the rank and file is not a good way to describe it, but I'm not coming up with a good term. Our police officers should not be making more than our chief of police, and our firefighters shouldn't be making more than the fire chief. And that's what we have going on right now. We need to have an incentive for firefighters to want to become a chief. And part of that is by rewarding them at a higher rate. So that was the compression I was trying to take out. But you've got to be fair to everybody across the board. You've got to look at the public safety people. You've got to look at the mechanical people, the highway people, the engineer. They all factor together and trying to come up with the fairest combination of those salaries. It's not an easy process. I spent a lot of time on it. Ryan spent a lot of time on it. It's not ever an easy thing to do.
Mhm.
Jen, the letter the email that you got I didn't see a name on it, and I'm not trying to elicit a name from you on it. But if it's somebody from Fort Wayne complaining about what's going on, it's different to me than somebody that's a constituent.
No, yeah.
Was it revealed to you and it's somebody that's a constituent?
Correct. Yeah, it was
Okay.
someone within my district, which is
Okay.
why I think it was sent to me. So I just wanted to pass along information so I could be accurate in my response.
But it was just one person, it wasn't more than one
Correct.
person that signed it? Okay, because I haven't heard anything at all about this from anybody, no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, well, and I watched the previous meeting since I wasn't able to attend, so I was trying to get what the discussion was here as well to understand if there was any
Oh.
concerns raised at that time.
A note on that also, to keep in mind, the department heads in those two departments are exempt, but I certainly don't think that our department heads are coming in and not putting in off hours and more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
But that's what you see listed on there for those positions are their overall earning potential for the year. There's no overtime for those positions, whereas all the ranks do generate more, income than the actual rate that's on there.
Yeah.
So
No, I was just
when
curious.
it talks
on
about the
that.
compression and looking at gross numbers, that's some of the reason for the percent
Yeah,
difference.
so that got it to above what some of the 2023 actuals were as a kind of baseline point. Okay. Appreciate the understanding of the methodology.
Other discussion?
I'm in agreement with Jerry. I'd like to look at this in future years, and I understand that you don't agree with us, and I still want to be on record in saying that.
And
I'd like to
that's
see
fine.
that
I
closer.
don't have a problem
Okay.
doing that.
And I know I don't have any authority to change that, but I would like us to consider that in future years.
We certainly can do that.
to take note of that as well.
That's fine. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any other unfinished business? Hearing none, new business, resolution number 2024-872, a resolution providing for the transfer appropriations for the city of Angola for the general fund and forwarded to the common council for their action and passage pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-18.6.
I'll move to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Motion and second, any discussion?
This is just
Housekeeping, moving some money
I thought,
around.
but I wouldn't be sure.
Ryan's money management. Ryan, you want to?
Yeah, so this being your first year go around at this, you'll see these more as we get further in the year. If we want to transfer funds between budget categories, it requires
I
council.
knew that when I was with the county, but I assume that's what this was. It's just
Yep,
to use money that's appropriated, but when in a different category, is that basically?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Set elected official salaries for 2025, and I believe in the package, there is a history of where those salaries have been over the years. This is entirely the council's discretion.
I suggest that we keep it the same. I do not. Oh, sorry.
If you don't mind, I would suggest mayor, clerk,
I'm
council,
sorry.
and be specific on which one you want to.
Mayor. Discussion, please. I do apologize.
Sorry.
I suggest keeping the salary the same. I would hate to have an increase when we're having discussions about the police and the fire department's salaries.
I have no opposition to keeping the council the same. I'm not here for the money anyway. You guys are. I think that they need some raise. That's their livelihood. They're there full time, and I think that they need a raise. I would propose the 4% again that they got last year, but I think they got families, they got things to do. Dave's here full time, Ryan's here full time plus, and I
And I should have, I'm sorry, council,
Oh, you're talking council?
Okay, we're gonna discuss council. If you want to do council first, let's.
I do apologize. I'm not.
First time you've done it, I get it. Although I love telling stupid stories. First year that Dave Olden was on, we started the conversation.
Very good.
And Dave sat up in his chair and he didn't realize, we get paid for this? Dave Olson didn't know that the council actually got paid. Anyway, if you want to talk about council, let's talk about council.
And anyways, I was referring to the council, not to you guys. I do realize that you guys, I agree with Mr. Coffey on that.
All right, so you want to put it into a motion for council only?
I move that the salaries for Angola City Council remain the same as they were in 2024.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and we will bring this back in ordinance form. But we'll just take a vote on it now, but this will have to come back in ordinance form. And when it comes back in ordinance form, it'll be for one ordinance, we'll have all three positions. But 0% for the council is what we're voting on now. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so council, nothing, and that will come back in the form of an ordinance at the next meeting. You want to do clerk and mayor together or separate, however the council wants to do it. It's entirely up to you.
I do it together.
Yeah, I think your raise ought to be the same. Ryan, you know where the dollars and cents are. Can we afford, you probably would say, we can afford 50%. In reality, did you two have a target that you're proposing to us or what's fair? It seems the 4% to me is fair, and
I wouldn't, personally, if I was in your chair, I wouldn't exceed what we have offered all of the other employees, which is primarily 3.5. But this is entirely, but if I was in your chair, I wouldn't exceed.
if you think that's sufficient, you two, like I said, you have families and you have things to take care of and you have expenses and you're here full time. You're here a lot, and plus all the meetings and those things that you have to go to and put up with my telephone calls.
You have been the past so far.
You don't know how many times I've been tested.
If I could ask him, Ryan, I don't know if you have this. I mean, do we have the previous few years of what employees have gotten? Like if this year it was 3.5 because that's the majority, was last year for the city employees mainly 4%, the year prior 5%?
We usually stick close to what, last year, the average employee was about 4%. And the year
Okay.
before that, it was 5%.
Okay.
So we have, historically, at least in the last couple of years of my been here, we've been sticking, and there were other people that were other adjustments, but these are basically what the overall employee.
I don't have a problem with the 3.5. You're the ones that are getting the money, but I think you deserve a raise. I don't think that's a circumstance we can ignore.
Motion.
I would move that 3.5%.
Second.
Motion is second for 3.5 for the mayor and the clerk. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Like I say, this will come back and there will be 3 readings of the ordinance. Okay, request approval of the 2024 agreement for services with the Steuben County Humane Society, Inc. This is, it's not a typo, this is for 2024. 2025 does not come in, which would be next year's contract. We're actually retroactively going back 6 months, going forward 6 months. So it's the agreement for 2024.
Is this the appropriated amount in the budget from last year?
I believe it is.
Yes, it's not an increase from 2023, and it's the amount that we budgeted.
Has nothing to do with the request.
We just never did the paperwork. The agreement was never done.
Yeah, so I received an email from the acting director asking for a copy of the agreement, and looking back through the records, realized the agreement had not been signed and returned, so we had not given them their amount for the year. So we are trying to correct that.
Yeah, ASAP, yes.
I'll move to approve the agreement.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Clerk Fraser's depository statement and cash reconciliation for the month ending June 2024 is presented for your information. Reports. Brian, you have anything for us?
Nothing from you there.
I have no report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Mrs. Hicks.
I do, actually, my first official department report, so here it is. No, I want to say how grateful, thankful I am for Brett and McKinsey in my department that I work with. They have stepped up, picked up tasks, picked up balls that I have dropped, things that I've thrown out at them. So I'm super thankful for that. Brett is managing projects from start to finish. He is working on Plan Commission and BZA. Him and Amanda both have kind of tag teamed on projects, which collaborating with engineering and working with them has been huge for us as well. He's doing a host of other tasks. So we do have some downtown building remodels that are going to be coming up. So you guys are going to see some of that soon. Some new construction west and east of town that's going to be happening soon too. So kind of keep your eyes out, and once those are applied for, we can send out reports like you had requested on some of those new projects. You're welcome. Mackenzie did an awesome job managing the July 4th parade again this year. She, our street department, we collaborated with Parks for the first time this year. And our police department was huge help. They made it look very easy, but I think that the parade went really well. We're super glad about that the weather held off. She's also applied for some grants that we received. So she has a couple of new gathering spaces that will happen in downtown that have been a little bit more inclusive. We've got some grants for some handicap accessible picnic tables that will go in that green space by the courthouse, the old courthouse, I guess. So she's going to work on that. We'll get site plans put together. The commissioners approved that today to go there for Food Truck Friday and other downtown events to make that easy. So that's going to happen. Some work in the alleyway to level that up where Imagine Alley is, better for people that maybe are in wheelchairs or just anything going through there. We're partnering our utility departments, engineering, kind of getting that up to speed. And she received grants for that as well. So she's been doing great. We are revamping the Mayor's Art Council. We're going to do some new initiatives this year that include students. So watch for that. One that I think will start when school begins, and then one that will probably take place in the summer before the next school year. So I'm excited about those, but that will happen soon. And then she's working on Art Fest, Trying Fest, and Downtown Cruisin' will be in September. So that's happening. I am slowly figuring out my role and what I need to do. I've recently met with a couple of consultants that I'm hoping to bring to the table. Both of them are helping in different capacities, but I think that they're going to be assets to the city and my department. I'm just reworking some things. I've kind of gained a new understanding of public-private partnerships that I think we can utilize, do some strategic planning, foster those relationships to help with some smart growth in our community that for residential, commercial, and industrial. So we've been busy, but it's been good. And I think that it will continue. This year will be a busy year, and next year will be even more exciting. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Chief Call. No report. Okay. Got you got anything for us?
No report.
Sue, anything?
No, sir.
Amanda?
No report.
Now,
Whatever.
not the one we've really been waiting for. Officer Alley, what do you have to share with us this evening?
Disappointing.
Request approval of allowance of accounts payable voucher 69,557 through 69,781, totaling $22,241.43, which includes interfund transfers of $277,258.94.
To approve.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any other new business?
I can be brief. I know it's a long meeting so far. And I spoke briefly before the meeting with Jennifer about this. Most of you know, I ride a bicycle a lot. Dave rides a bicycle quite a bit. This has got a motor on it though.
Dave Martin, not Dave Olson.
I was just ignoring it. Thank you very much.
Dave Olson rides a golf cart a lot. But I think that our trail is a great asset for the community and it does a lot for us. And in riding the trail this year, the volume of people that are on that trail is much more than it's ever been. And there are a lot there. And I have some safety concerns about the trail. That being said, I'm going to bring some proposals to the council and to the mayor's office, I think, to try to deal with those things. I wanted to talk with Jen about that. I talked with John Longenecker today a little bit, and I think we need to coordinate some things with the county so that as the volume increases, and I think it's going to continue to increase as people discover that and as people want to buy homes closer to the trail, and especially when we go south and that's built, we need to make sure people are informed. And as I said to Jen earlier, people are oblivious sometimes to the fact that there's somebody else on the trail besides them. And there's a lot of people out there. And I want us to be aware that there needs to be some safety concerns. And we talked about that some, but I just wanted to bring that up, that I may bring some proposals to the council and I want to do that over the winter after I've had a chance to talk with people. And with Amanda too. I don't want Amanda.
Yeah, please make sure you keep.
Of course, Amanda probably pushed me out the door. The rain. Yeah.
She can take care of herself.
Yeah, she can take care of herself.
And if I'll just piggyback in maybe for Risa and Amanda, and I know coordinating on permitting, because I think the utility cut there with the sand backfill is some of the safety concern, if I recall correctly. So I know sometimes in these jurisdictions, and I remember sitting in the county engineer seat and working on permitting when it's, maybe a county asset in the city limits and that coordination there. And I think there was outreach by the city to the county for some of that, if I recall correctly. So just, that's always a continued effort, not only for this type of development, but others for driveway cuts and things like that. So just maybe as you're exploring some things in the permitting process, how that can operate. But I don't know if there's anything you want to add to it, but I think there was
I
coordination.
didn't talk with Amanda about that at all. I talked with Scott, so she may not even be aware of what we're talking about. I talked with Scotty Lehman about it.
Okay.
Certainly talk to you for a minute after.
Yeah, that's fine.
That was different than what I was talking about, but yeah, that's a concern also, like Jen said. That's it. That's
Any
all I
other
got.
new business? All right, the next common council meeting will be Monday, my goodness, August 5th, 2024. We are adjourned and thank you, everyone.
Bonnie, did you have anything to say?
Once it's under